for the first time to the mountain stage, Dave Alvin and the Guilty Women.
Marie, Marie, playing guitar on the back porch, sit in my car. Why you say so sad, Marie, 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 Marie? It's so lonely in these farmlands. Please come with me to the bright lights downtown, Marie, Marie. I say, hey, pretty girl, don't you understand? Oh, that I just want to be a loving man, Marie, Marie. Early on, my brother Phil and I started sneaking into bars to see, there were a lot of bars in Southern California, neighborhood bars, besides performance spaces like the Ash Grove, which was a club we hung out in. But there were neighborhood bars where you could go see, old blues and R&B performers just working for a living, and in the community. And so we, whatever reason, we never really got in trouble. I wouldn't let my kids do it, but we stuck into bars and we became friends with Big Joe Turner and Lightning Hopkins and T-Bone Walker and people like that. And
so you not only listened to the sources, you actually
met
the
and then
sources.
Within a couple of years, of that, because we started when I was 13 and Phil was about 15. And within a couple of years of that, Phil and his band were already backing up these guys, and they were managed by a gal. God, her name just went out of my head. I'm getting tired. But anyway, my brother Phil's band was backing, Big Joe up and everybody, Lowell Folsom, whoever, and so when we started the Blasters, and I started writing the songs for the band, the only thing I was thinking was, okay, I got all these roots, got my cousin's taste in music, I've got our background in sneaking into bars, listening to the great blues performers, and now I need to write some short stories, and write my own blues. So that's the history of me and the Blasters.
And so you must have been, what, your upper teens then, or what?
No, I was early 20s.
Early 20s.
Yeah.
That's when you started writing too?
Yeah. Because I always thought songwriters came from Mars. I thought Bob Dylan was from some other planet, and I didn't really realize that he was from a small town in Minnesota. He's from New York City, right? And I think all songwriters at some point when it was, well, let's put it this way, where I grew up, songwriter was not an option. It wasn't a career option.
Right.
Songwriter was career option to me. I was a fry cook for 2.5 years. That was my career option.
What part of California was this?
Downey, California, which was about 20 miles southeast of Los Angeles. And when I was a kid, it was a town in transition. It was an orange grove town. Huh. And so I used to, climb up on the roof of my house, and you could see all the way to the Whittier, Puente Hills, and you could see the orange groves as far as you could look.
It's not there anymore, huh?
No, you tell people that. You tell these kids that today, they look at you like you're crazy, because it really did. The thing about growing up in Southern California, was everything changed, just like that. Exactly, yeah. And it's happening now all over the country. You see it, Yeah. But in there, it was like, you went to bed one day, and it was dairy farms and orange groves and avocado groves and people riding horses on the street. And then you woke up the next day, and it's surf music and Thunderbirds, There was once a young girl who lived in my hometown, and she became famous the whole world around, with the voice of an angel, singing sweet suburban songs. And no one in our hometown knew anything was wrong.
From those days and the Blasters and then your solo career, then the Guilty Men.
Yeah.
And now let's skip forward to this project, the Guilty Women. And how did this come about?
Well, it's kind of a sad story. When my best friend Chris Gaffney, who's been on your show with his group, the Hacienda Brothers, when he passed away last year, I was pretty blue. He and I had been friends for 26 years. And he got all my jokes, I got all his jokes. And so when he died, I was pretty down. And so then cut to, there's a great festival up in San Francisco every year in Golden Gate Park called Hardly Strictly Bluegrass. And I've played there just about every year, solo acoustic, with the Guilty Men, with the Knitters, with a variety of things. And they called me about a week or so after Chris passed away, and they said, hey, we want you back this year, but you want to do something different? Want to put together a straight blues band, or what do you want to do? And I said, all-woman band. I wasn't even thinking.
You just pulled that out of the air?
I just pulled it out of the air. Well, I'd played with everybody that's in the band, but I just thought, it's just, I need something that's going to make me smile and giggle, because I was way down, and I needed some, here's a new age way to say it, I needed some female energy, loving female energy around me.
Amy?
Felt that good in a long time.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to feel this good for a while, And so about 2 months later, we went out to Ray Benson's studio in Austin where we could sit in a circle. And I did the same thing. I didn't tell him what we'd be recording. There was no rehearsal. So I'd come in, I'd sit down and say, okay, it's a blues in B flat, or it's a Cajun thing in G. 3-4 hours later, done.
And
everybody was really conscious, because they're such great musicians. They were very conscious about not stepping on each other and working out their parts, and so there wasn't a lot of testosterone. That's my solo, bam,
Yeah.
And there were some amazingly magical moments, and it was maybe the most fun I've had making a record.
Well, it's a fine record, and it does have a lot of flavors on it. As you say,
Yeah.
This one does sound a little bit bluesy. This
Yeah.
one is a little this is
Yeah.
a little of that. Even Que Sera,
Yeah, even
which
Que
is
Sera,
great.
Sera.
I mean, that was a great touch.
Well, you know what? When you get down to it, Livingston and Evans is Ray Livingston. I can't remember. I think it was Bob Evans. No, that's a restaurant chain.
Yeah, he's from around here.
The guys that wrote it, I mean, whatever will be really will be.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that maybe my blues philosophy of life is summed up in the lyrics of a Doris Day song, but it really is. My dad passed away recently, and then Chris died, and it was just like, pick yourself up, Alvin. Whatever will be, will be.
Yeah.
And let's rock it up a little. So.
When I was just a little boy, I asked my mother, what will I be? Mama, will I be handsome? Will I be rich? And this is what she said to me. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future's just not ours to see. Que sera, sera. Bring it down, ladies.